بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد سيد البشر وآله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين ومن والاه ومن يوالي هذا الرسول يصمت أو يترك. There's plenty of websites out there. This is not for you. We continue the Arabic language part 4. We continue Arabic language part 4. I had to just make sure that it's part 4. And we go to page 123 from the same book, the Quran versus people. القرآن يتحدى الناس وما زال يتحدى الناس ويتحدى العالم. We go to Muslim historians and see what they said about the Arabic language and the human race, both of them. So it's page 123. Now, quoted here, the first scholars, and you'll have to understand this. They were the only scholars who got all of their information sent via the Muslims to Islamic Spain, and then Europe started learning from them, and now they're backstabbing us and backstabbing them. Wallah al-Musta'an. At-Tabari, who lived in 839 to 923 Common Era, which is basically AD, which is about 224 Hijri. That's 225 years after Rasulullah ﷺ had his migration. You're going to think about this, think about it. Sayyidina Shafi'i radiallahu anhu was born in 150, he passed in 205. So At-Tabari was just after Sayyidina Shafi'i. So if he were to take anything, he's a Shafi'i. So the madhab Shafi'i was there. Don't think like an Oxford or a Cambridge professor going, after 200 years this fella comes and puts the Quran. No, he has no say. Dude, there was Isnad, and At-Tabari is very famous with the Isnad. So he took it by Isnad. So it's not that long. 15 odd years between Sayyidina At-Tabari. He met Al-Muzani. Who's the Muzani? Al-Muzni. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And Abdul Rahman, who basically wrote everything that Sayyidina Shafi'i had written. They are the scholars or the students of Sayyidina Shafi'i. So they became scholars themselves. Ibn al-Athir was 1160 AD, which is about 555 Hijri. That will be the end of the Isnad as the living, say, Sahabi, or living not after Tabi'i. 500 years, of course, it's a very long time. But people used to memorize the books. They used to listen and memorize. There was no writing. It is Asr al-Tadween, true. But most of the scholars at the time of Ibn al-Athir, they used to memorize still. Don't just memorize the Quran. They memorized the Isnad. They memorized Ilm al-Rijal, which is basically who said what and what's this person. You'll have to understand this. Don't think about it like a scholar from Oxford. I don't think so. Dude, you don't think so? Go over there and think as you like. Yalla. This is how science of this ilm had been passed on. I don't think so. Don't think. Get out of here. Seriously. This is not for you. Wallahi wa izzatillah, this is not for you. After Ibn al-Athir, there's Ibn Kathir, 1300. He was born in 1300 to 1373. He died. He passed when he was like 71 or 72. That was about 700 Hijri. He took from Ibn al-Athir and he took from At-Tabari. Look at the Isnad. Listen to the Isnad. So when somebody says, Muqatil bin Sulaiman, 80 Hijri, he put the Quran, that was the first known Quran. Dude, what are you talking about? You don't know nothing. Wallahi, you don't know anything in this world. After Ibn Kathir, there's Ibn Khaldun, 1332, which is basically 732, just after Ibn Kathir. And Ibn Khaldun is a bit special because he's a sociologist. The first translation of Ibn Khaldun was translated into French, taken to France, and then he passed in 1332, 1406. That was just after, during the 14th century, 15th century, was the loss of Al-Andalus and the conquering of Constantinople that became Istanbul by Muhammad al-Fatih. Imagine that. So we had the universities, we had the scholars, and the books were getting smuggled in, translated into Latin. How are you going to build an empire? You need a language, a religion, and a hierarchy. You need a language. They made it Latin, and they destroyed the Arabic. They said there's no Arabic. This is Latin. That's why you see Latin wherever you go. There's always Latin. Hierarchy. There have to be a king. So there's the bishopry, the king, the monarchy, so on. You have to have one religion. If you're a Muslim, you'll be shot dead. And that's what the Spanish did. They burned the Quran on the streets of Spain, on the streets of Al-Andalus. This was all Islamic country, and they burned the Quran on the... But Queen Isabella, she spoke Arabic, and not a single book will tell you she spoke Arabic. She learned Arabic, and she learned the ilm al-Arab wal-Muslimin. That's how she became the strongest queen in Europe. Because she had al-ilm. Just like today, we send people to Washington to go and learn politics and come back again. You see how things happen? So it wasn't that far. So even Ibn Khaldun, when his sociology theory was taken, they still apply their theory today in the stock market in the US. Imagine that. They took his translations in French into France, and from France became the cradle of sociology. England was rubbish those days. England, you steal something with ما هي الأنصاب في إنجلترا. In England, al-ansab that used to get you hanged in the gallows, and I'll come to this later. If you steal anything that is more than 40 shillings, I think, you'll be hanged. We say, no, wait a minute. If it's 30 shillings, you get your hand cut off, but you need 1,000 ways, to make sure that you're the one, without a shadow of a doubt. So if one evidence says, no, he didn't do it, the hand doesn't get off. Imagine that. That's justice. Not like also what they portray in Hollywood. Kevin Costner acts like he's the Prince of Thieves, in the Prince of Thieves. And they say, oh, you're going to cut your hand. Why? He stole a bread. This is Shatim al-Ayyubiyin. When the Ayyubiyin took over Jerusalem, there was so much justice. It wasn't funny. People ran to the Ayyubiyin to live in the Islamic world because of justice. Mr. Kevin Costner says, they don't care, and then he saves the world. I'll come to that later. It's written also here in the book somewhere. So they portray that, if you steal this much, you get your hand cut off. That's rubbish. Absolute rubbish. So after Sayyidina Ibn Khaldun, and that's the isnad, I'm going to come and explain. Mentioning a well-known Muslim scholar, At-Tabari, took the isnad. And with this isnad, he starts Abu al-Bashariyya from Adam. All of them agree on that. At-Tabari, Ibn al-Athir, Ibn Kathir, and Ibn Khaldun. First who lived and dwelled, Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam. So entertaining the idea a monkey came down, I'm going to call this and then give it a name. That's rubbish. That's rubbish. Say that in Oxford maybe. Not here. At-Tabari, well documented, also al-Isra'iliyat, with isnad. So confirmed the dividing of the sea for Bani Israel, confirmed Wiladat Sayyidina Yasur al-Masih without a father. He confirmed also Nabuwwat Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everything with isnad. Everything from the Quran became a source. All of those in the beginning, Ibn Kathir and Ibn al-Kamil fi al-Tarikh was for Ibn Athir. And he wrote the Usud al-Ghaba, which is basically writing down 3,000 Sahabi. So for those who are going to say it was a tribe of people who didn't know what they're talking about, you don't know what you're talking about. Go and read Usud al-Ghaba. Al-Kamil fi al-Tarikh was written by Ibn Athir, and Al-Bidayah wal-Nihaya was written by Ibn Kathir. And they all agree on the same thing, that it was the human race that lived since Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, Qabil and Habil. And some people said, well, Qabil also killed Habil. He killed half the world population, because there was only two, and this world was divided into two. And I'll come to the inheritance of that later, on how the inheritance law and how how human beings are greedy, and how Islam explained the difference between greed and al-amal al-salih. Ibn Khaldun wrote al-Muqaddimah, which is still used until today as it is used as the main book for the introduction of history. until today. Until today, اليوم, you go over there, Ibn Khaldun, they'll tell you. But they might have a different name for it, who knows. Scholars also mentioned, appeared that it's work that had reached the Arabs from the European. All this work reached the Europeans from the Arabs and from the Muslims. They all translated it. At-Tabari's not tafsir. The history of Tabari is translated by more than 100 and something odd translators, and if you want to buy them all, they're about $1,400. And it's like an encyclopedia. And scholars in Europe said, if we only have the history of Tabari, we're done. We don't need anything else. Imagine that. They got to know their history from Tabari, Sayyidina Tabari, radiyallahu anhu warda. Language, however, was considered part of the human race, as sight is to eyes, as hearing to ears, from Adam, used as well to Cain and Abel. In the Arabic, Adam is used as well as Hebrew. Even the name Adam, Adam in Hebrew and in any other language. All the races in this world and all the histories agree that the first human being is Adam. Whether written in gibberish, written in anything else, Adam is the only. This is the Isnad. From 10,000 years until now, we have the only one name. Nobody came and said Gilgamesh and Milmamesh. No, it was Adam. It was only Adam. And Hawa is Hawa, Eve. Wherever you go, Eve and Hawa, there's a variation of that name. Cain and Abel and the dispute is also written in many cultures. As well as, you'll have to go down, I've written over here, the Surah Al-Kahf also, in affirmation, in Surah Al-Kahf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا أَشْهَدْتُهُمْ خَلْقَ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَمَا أَشْهَدْتُهُمْ خَلْقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not make us witness what He created. We didn't even witness our own creation. So for us to go and confirm, I'm a monkey, or your grandfather's, maybe your grandfather's a monkey. We're not monkeys. So take that on yourself. And they've got scholars, Adnan Ibrahim and all of the Qadi, Ahmed, and all of those from the US. They're now confirming Darwin's not a theory. You go to Oxford and Cambridge, they say, no, it's still a theory. Those Muslims, no, it's not a theory. This is practical. Oh, Muslims are still lagging. It's not a theory anymore. Okay, it's not a theory. So Adnan Ibrahim says, maybe if we're not monkeys, our cousins are monkeys. If my cousin is a monkey, what's my uncle? A monkey. What's my grandfather? A monkey or a human? They're idiots. Adnan Ibrahim insults Sidna Aisha wal-'iyadu billah. How am I going to take ilm, science, from a person like that? Imagine. There's so many munafiqeen in this world, it's not funny. But their objective is one, and they're doing a very good job about this, to take the Muslim, يَنْتَزِعُ انْتِزَاعًا, to rip off the iman of Islam from your hearts. And it's working, unfortunately. I don't know why. Maybe because human beings love this world so much. Who knows? But there's adab al-qabr. You'll have to remember. مَا هُوَ رَبُّكَ. You'll have to answer that question without a shadow of a doubt. If you have any shadow of doubt, Merry Christmas then, dude. You're gone. At the very end, you'll have to actually, according to the scriptures, Adam was the father of all nations, and his sons are very well known. And we come across now from Adam, his son, Sheeth, which is known as Teth, is written in the Torah, written in the Bible, written everywhere in the Israeliyat. He is very well known as a Nabi, Sheeth. And from Sheeth, you'll have to understand Adam starting the knowledge to hold prayers. So he was praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then Sheeth was praying. So it's basically knowledge is given from father to son, from father to son. So basically from one generation to another. We start from Seth, we go to Enos, Qainan, Mahalil, Yared or Jared, and then Idris, Akhnuch. Sayyidina Idris alayhi salam, the most knowledgeable. He's the first one to basically start accounting, mathematics, astronomy, everything. And some lived long enough to know each other. So where can you get a family that spoke two different languages? I speak the same language as my brother speaks, unless he has been brought up somewhere else. If I speak Arabic, he speaks Arabic. If I speak English, he speaks English. This is how it is. There's no such thing as a mother speaking two different languages to a person. So you're living together in one tribe. So what happened then? How did they get dispersed? Easy. Language, however, would have been the same throughout their lives until, okay, they got dispersed in each and every tribe. تبلبلت الألسن, we say. تبلبلت الألسن. So they started speaking different languages. An example, Arabic, if it went for the Quran and the Sha'r al-Jahili and basically the Quran that maintained the classical Arabic, we would have had the Kuwaiti Arabic would have gone Farsi, Iraqi Arabic would have gone Farsi-like, and then to Middle East Asia. The Shami Arabic would have gone up North Turkic. The African would have gone maybe to French or Iberian Peninsula or Turkey. It would have basically changed dramatically. You listen to a Moroccan Arabic and an Iraqi Arabic, they're totally different. These are dialects. But if there was no Quran, these dialects would have actually split and not become dialects, became a language. Just like how Latin split and became German, English. German and English now, they can't understand each other. But a Moroccan and Iraqi do understand each other. There you go. So Arabic, the classical Arabic, العربية الفصحى, maintained its maintenance through the Quran al-Karim. Now all of those people basically started dispersing, getting new words. As I said, grammar was how you heard things. You can't say he are, he is. Okay, she is, they are. Same in Arabic, أنت ولد, not أنتي. أنتي is for feminine. So there's نحن نذهب, أنت تذهب, أنتِ تذهبين. So I go, you go, we go. That's grammar, how you hear it. That's grammar and how grammar. Arabic was found as it is. So anyway, changed all over. Every tribe had its own. Some tribes disappeared because of natural disaster. So borrowed words from one tribe to another got this word into the language. An example, if Europe disappears completely, we will still have bank. We'll still have bank. If we disappeared completely, they still have jihadi. Well, jihad is not a German word, no, but we've learned it from the Arab and the Muslims. Imagine that. If anything happens, China gave us a lot of words too. If you go to Southeast Asia, there'll be a lot of, there's tapao, tapao. I've heard Malaysians say tapao. Tapao, what's tapao? Take away in Chinese. If they disappear, tapao still survives. Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam takes the Muslims onto a ship, onto an ark, travels with his 3 children. And this is where the father of the second nation. Inna Allah astafa Adam wa Nuh. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose Adam, the first, the second Nuh, and then Ali Ibrahim, and then Ali Imran. They came later. You see how the sequence of the Quran. The sequence of the Quran is the sequence of the human race. So Adam, then Nuh, then Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam came from Dhurriyyat Sayyidina Nuh. He came from the progeny of Sayyidina Nuh. Now, he left 3 children, Sam, Ham, and Yafith. And those 3 became the nation, and they got separated. And as I said, from the Indus River, from Sindh, you go to China, that became a locked area. Chinese remained locked for heaps. They're totally different from us. Europeans, friction with the Persians, and the Arab and the South, and there's Africa. Those are the main lands, main people. After that, people, the unusual thing that I found out was that the flood was mentioned in every single nation in this world. Even if you go to India, they do mention of a flood and then life after the flood. Wherever you go, it's the same thing. And the description in Surah Saba and anywhere, it will tell you exactly how it is. There was water that was flowing from the ground and water coming down from the heavens. If you go to Petra, Jordan, you will see that people maybe in Sham built Petra in the middle of the desert, but it was rich in water in somewhere near Najd and Hijaz, that the people of Petra, the Nabatean Arabs, built some canals, just like small canals, just like pipes, taking the water from the middle of the desert into their wells. Imagine that. Sayyidina Salih alayhi salam, also there was a huge well in his tribe too. Imagine that. The Naqa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created a camel, a she camel from a cow, say they call it a cow, from the rock, and he said let her drink from that well. There was a huge well, which means that Naqa was huge, and it used to finish the whole well the whole day. That generation spoke the same language. If it's Arabic from Adam alayhi salam to Nuh, Sayyidina Ibrahim also saw Sayyidina Nuh. Anyway, they all lived within the same era. They all lived about 1,000 years. People might go to a doctor and say, oh, he'll tell you it's rubbish. That's rubbish, that's your ilm. This is different. The children of Nuh alayhi salam, Sam, Ham, Yafith, definitely spoke the same language. So the three of them spoke the same language. The whole family spoke the same language. Listen. Concentrate on this. They spoke the same language and the children moved on. They took the same language and then it got distorted. If you do not maintain your relationship with the other tribe, you're going to develop into another, just like how the Chinese developed something else, from drawing a fish to pronouncing it differently to giving it different strokes. Just like that. China is a perfect example. Languages became very different. The father of the Arabic language is Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salam. How big is Arabic? This is the question. Arabic is huge. What we know is a glimpse of it. But if you put everything in, just like how the Quran said in Surah there was in Surah Al-Kahf, and then in another surah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you words. His words are infinite, they never end. Even if the sea changes into ink and you change all of the trees into pencils to write God's eternal words, they will never finish. This is an indication the Arabic language is huge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is greater than that, greater than the Arabic language. But he's telling you this is the Quran is in Arabic, and Arabic is huge, huger than what people think. On the page 128, I've just put a small diagram. You should see this, starting from Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam to Seth, Enosh, or Kainan, Mahalil, Yared, Ujared, Enoch, Idris, Metusaleh, Lamech, or Lamech, and then Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam. From Sayyidina Nuh there is Sham, which is Sam, Ham, and Yafth. They all, most of them saw each other, and they lived within the same era, almost. Now, when you're going to go and open the Bible and look at things differently, it's up to you. But this is how it is. And then we'll come to Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salam, and then after Sayyidina Ismail, we have Imru'ul Qais. I'll have to talk about Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salam, then Imru'ul Qais, the greatest poet in Arabia. And then what is Arabic? I'm going to give you a challenge. How old is this word? If people dispute that the Arabic language is the not the longest, not the oldest, this is proof that it is. And I'll come to this maybe the second or third video after this. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin, Sayyidina Muhammad sayyid bashar wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam ajma'in.